Why does your voice crack when you sing high notes? Now, this is a question that I'm asked by lots of singers, and there are a few reasons. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the most common reasons and how you can fix them. Before we dive in, remember to hit the subscription button if you haven't already, and hit the notification so that you get all of my future videos. My name's Carrie Griffiths, and I've been singing since 1999, and I've been a voice coach and artist development coach since 2003, and I've helped thousands of singers with their voices. I've toured all over the world. I've performed in more than 30 countries, and I've performed to thousands, audiences of thousands, many times, and I've been involved in 3 top 10 best-selling albums, including a #1. So I've done everything probably that you are about to do if you're an aspiring singer, and if you're an established singer, someone who's been singing for a while, I've probably done everything that you're about to do or that you've done. Every weird sound that's going to come out of your mouth, I've definitely made more than a dozen times, probably into the hundreds, because I've been singing for so long, and I've certainly heard thousands of people make very strange noises. When people come to sing, for some reason, they do lots of strange things with their voices. Now, the reason probably is that over the years, we've been trained to not use our voices properly. When we're born and when we're small, we know how to use our voices properly. If you hear small children singing, most of the time they are quite tuneful, and most of the time they don't have an issue with their voices cracking when they get to the higher notes. And this is because when we're small, people don't mind us making noise so much when we're very small. When we get to about 3 or 4, it gets very loud, and this can become quite jarring for older people and for adults especially. And so they tell children to be quiet. So by the time we get to 7 or 8, we've unlearned how to use our voices, and we have started to form bad habits in order to fit into society where it's more appropriate to not be so loud. That goes for almost all of us. And then when we come to sing, because we've unlearned how to use our voices properly, and we have created bad habits, we then create more bad habits, because we then want our voices to sound nice, or to sound good, or to sound distorted, or to sound a bit gritty if you're into rock music or any of the subgenres of rock. And we then cause issues with our voices. And so when you come to someone like me, a voice coach, voice coaching is one of the things that I do as an artist development coach, then what I see my job as is not to make you sound good, but to help you to understand how to use your voice properly and safely so that you don't cause damage. And the outcome is that it sounds good or nice or distorted. If you want to add distortion, I can help you add distortion without hurting your voice, so that when you come to talk in your normal speaking voice, it doesn't sound all croaky and gritty, and you have that clean sound when you speak. A few of the reasons why your voice might crack when you sing high notes is not actually because the note is high. Now, if you can squeak like a mouse, if you can do that, or if you can siren, woo, woo, you can hear that I'm going through quite a lot of my range without my voice cracking or breaking. And that's not just because I've been singing for a long time and know how to use my voice, and that I'm a trained and qualified and experienced voice coach. It's also because when you slide through your voice rather than trying to jump from a low note to a high note, it's much easier for your vocal cords to control themselves. Now, what actually happens when your voice cracks is that your vocal cords slap together like this, and they stop the air from coming through, thereby stopping a sound, because your vocal cords vibrate close together when it's a high pitch, and a bit further apart when it's a lower pitch. And when you go to a high pitch and your vocal cords are not controlled or aren't used to going high, then they slap together and they cut off the air, thereby cutting off the sound. That's all it is. Most of the time, your voice will crack because you are, usually because you're pushing and forcing your voice, or it's not resonating in the right place. Most people, when they haven't had any training, sing from their throat. What I mean by that is they try to use the muscles in their throat to try to create the sound. And that is never going to work because your muscles in your throat don't control your vocal cords. Your vocal cords are controlled by the muscles and the folds in and around your actual larynx. You can't do that by doing anything with the outside of the throat, the muscles in your throat and the muscles in your neck. A lot of times people also will reach up when they try to sing a high note. All that does is cause tension. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I always say tension is the enemy of singing. We always want to be relaxed when we sing, even when we're singing loud, high, powerful notes. So I'm going to go through a few ways that you can go, So I'm going to go through a few ways that you can sing high without causing your voice to crack or break. And as I said earlier, it's not usually because you're singing high. It's actually the middle range that tends to crack and break. And that's because the low notes in your chest voice are meeting the high notes in your head voice, chest voice, head register. It's the terms are interchangeable: chest voice, chest register, head voice, head register. And what we want to do to stop that from happening is create a mixed voice, a blended voice. We want to blend and combine our chest voice with our head voice so that it creates a nice smooth transition when we sing from low to high. So one of the ways we can do that, and the first way that I always recommend, because everyone thinks that you need to push and force your voice to sing high, I always recommend starting softly. So if we start, even if you're singing gospel or if you're singing rock or any sound that feels like it needs to be big and strong, we don't force our voices and we don't purposely add volume to make our voices sing high. So we can start very soft, and that's the best way to start. So if you were to imagine that you're in a choir and you sing that kind of operatic way, start high and then come down. So if we start high, come down, and then go back, so we siren down and then back up. So something like, that's going to be much easier than trying to sing or because you're not used to going to singing such a big interval. The other thing is, as I said earlier, people start to do really weird things with their voices, and you really don't need to. Just relax. Imagine an open throat and an operatic. Take the mic if you need to. That's probably usually the best way to go. Taking the mic out of opera singers. And it doesn't matter if you miss the beginning. It doesn't matter if it doesn't sound like your singing voice. It probably won't, because you're probably not used to singing like that. But that is a classical and choral way of singing. So you go for that open throat, nice and relaxed. The rounded sound is happening because of the shape of my throat, because my throat muscles are relaxed and it's nice and open. It's not because of my lips. So it's not, it's with an open throat. That's head voice, head register singing. If this is helping you, by the way, remember to hit like and share this with someone who you think will benefit. Another way that we can sing high notes without cracking our voice, by creating a mix, the way that you would produce a sound when you speak. So when you speak, you don't put lots of effort in, you just speak and the sound comes out. And it should be the same for singing. So you could do an exercise like na. So just the word na. And you could just say na 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 na. Or if you have a lower voice, you could say na 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 na. Okay? So for lower voices, like if you sing really down here, and when you try to sing high, the high notes are around here, you could say na 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 na. If you have a middle range voice, na 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 na. Or you could bring it up a little bit. na 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 na. Go up here, na 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 na. So we're aiming for a kind of a soft sound, and we're not ever pushing. We can then come to mask singing. Now, mask singing is very, very popular in pop music. It's used a lot in pop music, also in indie music, in rock, and in musical theatre. We really do hear this a lot in musical theatre. And the mask is the area at the front of your face, and it's a kind of nasally sound. So if you aim for nya, nya, and it's so N-Y-A, nya, and you want to feel a buzz and you want to create a buzzy sound. This is not a nice sound. So as I keep saying, when people go to sing, they want to make it sound nice and sound good. And it's the trying to make it sound nice and good that gives us issues, that trips us up and creates banging and cracking and breaking and losing the notes, okay? So we want to make it a little bit not so pretty. So if we go for a sound like nya, down here, we could go nya, 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 nya. Okay, so we make the face if you need to. We want to make it buzzy. Nya, 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 nya. Then we come up to the slightly higher. Nya, 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 nya. And then we could take it a bit higher for high mezzos and sopranos. So around here. And that creates that kind of harsh forward sound. So in the mask, it's always forward and a little bit harsher, very buzzy. For head voice singing, it's that soft, choiry. And for the mix, the speaking sound, it's na 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 na. Na 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 na. You notice I'm not getting louder. Na 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 na. I'm just mixing the chest voice with the head voice. And that is the trickiest part. It can take a really long time to master it. So be nice to yourselves, be patient with yourselves. Keep practicing the exercises. If you're working on creating your mix, your blended registers, then please don't try and do belting or powerful singing until you've mastered that. If you try to do this one day and then something else the next day and something else the next day, you're never going to see any progress. It's just like if you were training as an athlete and you wanted to be a runner, and then one day you did the high jump and the next day you did the shot put, and then the next day you did swimming, you're not going to improve your running, are you? So same with mastering specific vocal techniques. Stick to one until you've got it and then move on. Now, the last reason that your voice might be cracking and breaking when you sing, and you're probably not going to like it, although it is probably the most important, is maybe you're not warming up. So many singers think that it's okay to just sing without warming up, and they always come a cropper in the end. Even if you go 5, 10, 15 years without ever warming up before you sing, at some point you're going to come a cropper and it's going to come back to bite you on the bum. You must warm up every single time you sing. I was at a party a few nights ago, and I don't normally sing at parties, but this was a birthday of a very, very, very dear friend of mine. Before I went off, not for long, and I did a few warm-ups and tongue trills just to get things going, and so that I didn't do anything to harm my voice. So you must warm up, especially if you're learning a new technique or working on powerful singing. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay hydrated. Ciao!